group. And then let me also record this thing. Oops.
It shows
Anyone see
live.
if it's live?
Yep, upper left corner says live.
I've
Yeah.
said that before, but it doesn't always show up in the group.
Yeah, it just showed up.
Okay, right on. Cool. Yeah, all right, guys, welcome. We're coming off of our first live event. I don't think I have any other way to describe it other than a big success. I think there was made a lot of connections with people. I learned a lot myself. I learned how to run an event in real time. And the speakers, I think were amazing. Part of this call, I want to hear from you guys. There's a number of people that were on this call. I'd love for you guys to share some of your takeaways. I'm going to share one of my big takeaways that actually clicked into place for me on Monday morning. I was kind of reflecting on everything. But let's start off with some wins. Who has some wins from the last week? Nobody won.
My win was to go to this mastermind. My mind was blown.
That's awesome, Rafael. It was amazing to spend some time with you and to hang out with you a bit. Still haven't seen this cooking that you're always bragging about. I don't know if it's a real thing one day. Cool. Anyone else have any wins from the last week? Jeez.
Yeah, I have a win in a way. So it had to do based off of with Danny's talk, with talking about, unstable to stable clients. And it really helped me identify with one guy who I was about to sign up. And it was going to be for the cash grab. But, honestly, at the end of the day, it's just, I saw the red flags that were there in his conversation really helped me identify it's this guy would be nothing but a headache. So I'd rather still have that site be unrented than deal with the headaches that would come from just a couple $100 more a month from that one guy. So I think that it was just perfect timing for me to hear what he had to say in relation to knowing that future me will be thankful. I prevented those headaches.
100%. That's true, man. It was super cool to hang out with you and for the weekend and, connect with you a little bit more. Cool. All right. Thank you, Devon. Who else has some wins?
I do have another one though. Today I put another business on the hook. So I'm giving leads in advance. And so today I talked to him and he was really okay, I'll take the leads and I want to grow. And so these are coming for him for a few leads. And then I just, go for a close.
I like it. That's part of what the second half of this lesson today is going to really be. I want to spend some time kind of reflecting and hearing some of your guys' takeaways. I'd love for you guys to share your takeaways. Devon kind of already shared some of his. So to expand on one of the speakers, Danny, talked about the different life cycles that our clients go through and how those can impact the revenue that and the struggles and the value that they can receive from our service. It sounds like Devon decided to walk away from one because of where they were in that life cycle. They were kind of in this struggle or the unstable spot, and how that's going to impact anyone who tries to do business with them, especially in a partnership like this. Cool. All right. Who else has some wins?
I got
Look at this guy.
Here.
You forgot your swag, man. I've got to mail.
I know. I even talked to your wife about it, and she set it aside for me, and everything that was going on, I just left it behind.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of excitement going on there, huh?
Yeah. But anyways, in the first time in my business, since I got back from the trip, actually, I've had 3 people reach out to me through referrals, which is something new in my business, where they've talked to somebody that I've worked out, and then just out of the blue, they've contacted me and said, hey, so-and-so told me to reach out to you to kind of help me build a presence. One guy's a plumber, and he wants me to help him build a presence. I mean, the only hiccup I'm having is when you talk to some of these people, they're just starting out and their budgets seem to be kind of low. I mean, I do want to help them out, but I also don't want to sell myself short too. And I know we've had conversations like this too. It's just my sales process. I think I have to work on that to maximize my return sort of thing, right?
100%. Yeah. And this is part of one of the realizations that I had. I'm kind of holding it because I want to wait until after the wins, but what you're struggling with is so much as what everyone else is struggling with. We don't understand the offer. We don't know how to like structure things. And, you know, in the middle of the VIP session that we were doing on Sunday, there was kind of like, or towards the end of it, actually, there was like something happened there and it kind of snapped a realization. It took me, I must've been thinking about it when I woke up or thinking about it when I was sleeping. Cause when I woke up the next morning, I was like, this is a solution that is going to solve stuff. And I told it to Jeff and I shared it with a few other people. And I'm really excited on how we're going to change how things are, you know, how we're kind of structuring things for the people that decide to be a part of our coaching program. Alex, I know you joined. I think it's going to make a big difference for people. And it's going to really work through and give you guys a lot more clarity on stuff. So, Alex,
That's
congratulations.
a huge step, you know, getting referrals, Alex.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
keep treating people right, and you know, it'll be so much easier to close them, and then you'll just continue to get more and more and more.
Yeah, I can feel the momentum of the referrals, and I can see how powerful that is to really grow your business. But I just got to start working with some bigger players, you know, instead of like the smaller fish that I've been kind of playing with, right?
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Sure. Alex, thanks for sharing that, man. Congrats on the referrals. That's amazing when those things start to roll in. It can really, it can create a ton of scale for you if you get that referral bus running down the road. Cool. All right. Who else has some wins? Was that it? Is that the end of the wins? All right. Well, let's get into it. Alex, you're already on the camera here. What were some of your biggest takeaways from this last week?
I think it was just I think just seeing everyone else's like similar struggles, I suppose, and that I'm not that like far behind. Like there just seems to be all these different levels in business. And you know, there's people right in the beginning, kind of in the middle, and in more advanced. And I appreciated like interacting with those people that were at all these different levels, and kind of comparing myself, I guess, to where others are, and kind of trying to help those that were kind of like a little bit not as far as I am, and then try to learn from the ones that were further ahead than me. And I think that was really valuable. I mean, also some of the presentations, like Danny's presentation and also Adam's presentation about social branding, I think was really powerful. And I'm really trying to implement some of those things that I learned from Adam and Danny, and some of the others for sure are the ones that I remember the most.
Yeah, those were awesome. And just so you guys who weren't there, Adam talked about personal branding and how much that's meant for him. And, you know, he said that he was posting twice a day. A lot of times he was posting, you know, some of the entrepreneurial stuff, not just like trying to like let everyone know that he's a marketer. Instead, he was just trying to offer value and kind of inspiration. And it was a little bit of a delay. I think it was maybe 6 months or 8 months or something later. He had a big uptick in some of his clients, and he shared that he shared that there was one that he talked to 3 years ago and now became one of his best clients because he was just constantly like giving that value and staying plugged in. There's a lot of strategy, and we have those recordings that one way or another we'll be making available at some point. It's going to take us a while to get this stuff back from the videographer or photographer. But we have everything captured, so those amazing presentations we heard will be preserved, and you know, we can bring those out at some point. Yeah, I got a ton out of both of those guys too. You know, that was super cool. Let's go. Thank you for sharing that, Alex. Let's go over to Rafael. Rafael, are you got some takeaways from the event?
Yes. So the Friday guest, he was really it was great listening to him, and then it gave me a solid like way of, because I kind of thought it the same way that he does it, and then just, you know, like how I sell what I sell, you know, like So it's
You're talking about Barry came on Friday for the VIP session, and we talked about video verification, how we can do that, and how video verification is actually a huge opportunity for us if you set things up. And then we moved into like an offer type. So you're talking more about the offer.
Yeah, the offer was really awesome.
That was part of I think that was part of the learning experience for me, is that realizing where a lot of you guys struggle with is in the offer, and then the deliverables kind of being tied to the offer. So I'm going to jump into that, a lot of this today on the second half of this call. But that was cool, because based on the questions that you guys were asking, and then the interactions I had through the rest of the weekend, it was like the offers for people, they don't really have them structured in a way that makes sense. So that was cool. What else you got, Rafael? What other highlights?
Danny, the pyramid stuff. Like, that it's totally, I have it right here. It was totally like, I was struggling with the strugglers, so like I have a bunch of struggler ones, because they are the ones that, I don't know, shows up on my feed, and then I decide talking to them. But I saw that I need to do a little better. At least start on the unstable ones, better than those,
So Danny was kind of had these two pyramids, and at the bottom was like this bigger area with like struggle, and up at the top are the people that are stable. And then next to that, he kind of flipped the pyramid, and now like basically it's your bigger money is going to come from the types of clients that aren't struggling, and how we can like find those. They're going to give you less headaches and more money, and we spend too much time struggling with these guys that are just not in a position. They're not ideal for your service, right? And they're going to cause a ton of problems and not be able to pay because of where they are in their business, not because of the service that we're providing, right? So yeah, that was a really cool presentation, what he did, for sure. Cool. Anything else, Rafael?
Yes, but that one is like more when I'm far ahead, so I'm not worrying about it right now, but it's great that I have that knowledge in my head.
Yeah.
Those guys that came with the IG techniques, stuff like that, that was a great.
That stuff blew my mind, man. These two guys came, Brian and Francis, speakers, and they used to do the events for like Tony Robbins and Jen Rome, and some of these other big players. They've got, I think, 4 companies that are in the top 5,000 privately held companies in the United States. Between them, they've sold more than $10 million on Instagram. They had a crazy strategy that they shared in there, where they got on one of theirs, they got 160,000 leads at $1.70 a lead for, I think it was a coaching program that was $25,000. Another one, they got 151 million impressions, which is like almost half the population of the United States, which is like insane. And the way that they do it, it's so simple. And I'd never even heard of that strategy. That was awesome to see that, man. I feel like that's going to be a big game changer in our agency. That was the one that kind of blew me away the most, where I was like, holy cow, like how, like it's so, but that was cool. That was super cool. All right, let's go over. Let's go over to Devon. Devon, you already shared part of your takeaways. What were some of the highlights from the event? What value can you bring back to the group from our event and share with people for the ones that weren't able to be there? Like what can we share with them that we learned?
I think one of the biggest things for me, which is why I made that video to already want to share it for people, it's just understanding, like auditing your time, and how Chris had that shirt on. It just said intentional, right? Like having that as a core value of his company, and really just making sure that we all are, I feel like a lot of people, and myself included, like reflecting on it, go and we kind of stray off after a time because we don't actually know like what we're aiming for, and we don't know why we're doing what we're doing. Each day, like we're told a lot of this stuff as to get properties up. It's like, okay, but like we don't have an idea of like the end goal, right, that we want to have in mind. So for a lot of people who were there, especially who weren't there, I think it's just taking some time to really just get a better understanding of what it is that we're aiming for. Like for a guy like Chris, being able to just hear him speak, it really helps you get a better idea of like okay, maybe I want to get to 10K a month, but like what after? And I think maybe that's what holds a lot of people back is, they keep it as this unobtainable goal because they're almost afraid to hit it. They have this fear of success because they don't know like what's going to happen after the point. Having a guy like Chris talk and listen to him really helps give you a better idea of like, okay, so that's like what the next step is. So for a lot of people, I would honestly say it's just get an understanding of like what you want and why you want to do it. Or why I should say, get a better idea of what you want and then figure out how to reverse engineer that so that you have a better idea of like how to create that map for yourself and just know that there are other options beyond that point.
100%. I actually just created a training on this of kind of like coming up with your exact number, like figuring out your why, what you're headed towards, and then how do we reverse engineer that to create this, like, if it's a better life we're after, how much does that cost? And then like creating a direct line between what we're doing and what we want, right? Making sure that's in alignment. Yeah, that's a huge takeaway, man. That's a big mental shift when you realize how important that is. I know we've got a number of people on this call that were at that event. Jannery Canary, are you available to jump on with us here?
Of course.
There she is. Look at that. Look at that. I see the top of some swag.
You know it. I had to
There we
rock it.
go.
I probably put it upside down, but I don't know. No, I got it right. Okay.
Yeah, it would be hard to put it on upside down, but
Not upside down, but I meant like that.
backwards. Yeah.
Oh my
Cool.
God. The event was amazing. I mean, I got something out of every speaker, like everything. I'm gonna give you my biggest takeaway. I'm gonna piggyback from what Devon mentioned. I think, we start this business model or get into some kind of business to probably get rid of our job, and we just want to cover our bills and maybe help family, but we don't think about beyond that a lot of times. So for me, I agree with what Devon was saying. It's like, after you get to that goal, what is it that you're going to do? What is going to be your impact? And it gets to the point that it's not even no more about the money. It's about what value and what you're going to give back to the world overall, and maybe help other people as well. Danny's stuff was really good because, as Rafael mentioned, the struggle area, I think my heart got in the way a lot of times when it comes to business. So what I did, I came back and I started evaluating my clients and seeing like how I can still help them, but eventually probably phase out anybody that doesn't, fit my ideal client. So I did appreciate that. And I think it was interesting that he talked about when you're helping and prospecting, you're talking beyond, revenue, even like to the point you're talking about how does it impact their sex life, like, which is interesting, right? Because at the end of the day,
I never saw that angle before, right?
I think that was interesting, but it's true because we're talking to people, human beings, right? It's not just about.
It affects every part of your life. If your business is not running well and you don't have, if you don't have all your ducks in a row, then it's like, it's going to wreck your whole life. If your business is what's supposed to be providing for your family,
Exactly. But yeah, I think it was amazing. And then aside from the speakers, your presentation was right on for what we need in our agency and what we need, and learning how to hire and how to qualify them and what quadrant are they in and all that stuff. That was really good, really, really good stuff. I loved it. And then just meeting everybody. I mean, like I mentioned in my post, when I shared about the mastermind, it's like entrepreneurship is a lonely world, and we're here every week, via Zoom, but it does something when you're in a room full of all these like-minded people, the energy, the knowledge, the tips, hearing each other's stories. Like, I think that there's nothing that can replace that.
Yeah, that was super cool. There's a lot of people that I've seen their name around, and then, sometimes you meet someone within just a couple minutes and you're like, man, I like this dude a lot. Like years had gone by where we had interacted online, but as soon as I was around some of these people in person, I was like, man, this is like, I could legit be friends and hang out and not even talk business with this person. I just like their energy. That happened for me a few times, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, I definitely got some new friends from this event.
For sure. So Gary is on his way up to, he's getting ready to take a cruise, and he's in transit right now, but he's throwing in some of his wins. He said how to structure an acquisition deal by getting rev share while owning a percentage of the company, getting paid while you're growing the company. That's what Chris was talking about. Chris obviously is a business acquisition master. For those of you guys who haven't heard, we launched our coaching program, and Chris is partners on that coaching program with me. So that's something I'm excited about. And I know a ton of people got a lot of value from him and like his acquisition. He's part owner of a huge acquisitions training company. I think there's 11,000 people in his coaching group, and he's been doing it for a long time. And his partner in that program has done, I think 400 or 500 deals. So really cool to have somebody that well connected and with that set of experience. Gary also is talking about how like the CTR stuff from Mike Merlino, like some of the ways that we can really drastically improve our GMVs, like showing the address. And then let's see what he says, not waiting time with people that aren't willing to pay enough. So not wasting time for people that aren't willing to, with your idea, get your idea clients. And then the KPIs, right? I went through a lot of this KPIs that we should be measuring. And this is kind of like building on my presentation and kind of combining what I saw with some of the struggles and some of the stuff that Barry had shared is where I want to take the second half of this. I'll open that up in just a little bit. And then being the brand. So Adam talked about how like, instead of like trying to represent his company, he was just representing Adam McChesney, and he was pushing out his stuff. And people, a lot of times, they're not buying for your company. They're buying for, the person that sells them on that. And if you build up and you've got like a long history of providing value, there's a higher level of trust and expertise that is associated with you. So, that I 100% agree, Gary. He said he could keep on going. I think that's enough, Gary. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate you, being on the road and sharing some of that stuff with us. All right, who else we got? Is Jolante going to jump on and he got challenged by Spencer over this to be on these calls to show his face. Jolante, what's up, man?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
There he is. What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Yeah, I was challenged by Spencer, and so I'm going to actually keep my obligation to do that.
I like it. Yeah. So talk to me. What did you think of this weekend, and what were some of the things that how are you better positioned after this weekend than you were before? Is there anything that you could share that would help somebody who wasn't able to be there, maybe take away a nugget and help them on their journey?
Yeah, I mean, this weekend, it was amazing, to be honest with you. Again, I got a chance to meet a lot of people. And as you stated earlier, you got a chance to, talk to people face to face, find out where their journey was at, where they're at in their business and where they, where they're going and whatnot. In regards to just people who weren't there, it's unfortunate that they weren't there, but I just learned so much, man. Everything from the business acquisition to, figuring out, if you want to scale your business, who to deal with, who not to deal with. For example, the struggling, people who are actually struggling in their business. You can't necessarily help them out, right? If they don't have the funds for them to help them out, right? Also, the whole thing with the social media thing, I think that was just amazing because honestly, I've never seen or heard anything, from with Brian and Francis. That was amazing to be able to get the impressions and be able to operate social media that way, right? Because again, we all know that we're actually in the age of social media. So if you get that type of impressions or you get that type of engagement through that, I mean that can blow your business up alone. So and then of course, like with Chris and Danny, again, all the information was just wonderful information. So I like the fact that out of all the speakers, everybody, what I found was beneficial was everybody used different techniques to grow their business. So it's not one way that fits all. There's so many different ways of what you can do to grow your agency. It's just about, okay, hey, do I want to focus on the social media? Do I want to focus on the, the engagement? Do I want to focus on, business acquisitions? So there's just so many different ways, so again, the whole, mastermind was just wonderful, man. And for anybody who couldn't make it this time, please try your best to make it next time. You will not regret it.
Right. And guys, we're going to try to figure out a way to get you guys some sort of access to some of the speeches that we had. I mean, like you guys are hearing, you can hear in their tone how meaningful and impactful this was. And it was for me too. And it not because I was the host of the event, but I was in the crowd, like trying to absorb the information as much as I possibly can. And I had some huge breakthroughs in the way I can improve my agency. So that was really cool. Yeah, those Instagram guys were Brian and Francis. They killed it, man. That was mind-blowing stuff for me, and I'm super excited for it. Yeah, cool. Jolante, thank you, man. I want to make you a regular face on here, man. You always have insightful stuff to share. So
Of course.
yeah, we're gonna pull you out of the shadows more often, man.
Fair enough.
Yeah, cool. All right. Who else we have on here? Let me see if I see Jack Romer over there. Jack, I don't know if what's up, man? Jack Romer.
What's up, Patrick?
There he is.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Jack Romer's about to get
I
out
work
of
in a
town.
co-work space, so sometimes I like to keep things down. But
Yeah. Talk to us,
yeah.
man. How was the weekend?
Weekend was awesome. I think it was really the best part about it was just getting reconnected and connected with new faces, but getting reconnected with old faces I hadn't seen in a long time. And I feel like kind of to Jannery's point, I think she said, or someone on here said, like, a lot of times, like, it's, this is kind of a lonely journey, and it can feel that way. And it's just really re-energizing and kind of gets the wind back in your sails when you get around everybody. And understand that people are going through the same struggles you're going through, and that there's just I had so many like aha moments of just like in conversations of just hearing like a comment here, a comment there of like, oh, I could be doing that, or I could, just ideas that you never would have heard or thought of before. So like that's just like some of my favorite things about these events. And I'm really excited that we're gonna make this like a regular thing, because I look back in the growth of my business, and I can really correlate big jumps in our growth to when I attended an event. And so I know that this is just like really a key for my success, anyone's success, is just staying plugged in and trying to get to these events as much as you can.
Yeah, for sure, man. I look back on my business too, and I know that, hey guys, this event came with the price tag, and maybe not all of us are in a position to put that kind of money down. And you've got a few months. The next one we're going to do is in July, right? I'd be thinking about it, because for the people that come to these events and they don't do anything with it, the event is expensive. For the people that come to this event and they use this to catapult and accelerate their business, the event is a no-brainer. So if you're the type of person that's going to execute on some of this stuff, then like it's actually more expensive not to be here than it is to be here, right? The way that you can adjust things, and that's how it's been for me, man. I've tried to surround myself in the friendships. I just got off a call right before this with my buddy John Mueller, and we met at an event, and like we were talking about, it was myself, John Mueller, Justin Roy, and a number of other, maybe like 10 or so other people that I became friends with through these events. And all of us have stayed connected, and our business have just kind of like grown together. We kind of came up together, and we look back on things. And I remember being at these events and walking up and seeing this guy with John's face, and I had no clue that it was going to turn into a friendship that has lasted, 7 years, that we've talked once a month or more. We've hung out in person, we go to each other's houses, and those ideas that, like what you're talking about there, Jack, a lot of time it's not. I told you guys this before the events. I don't know if I shared this on the call, but it's a lot of it is going to be what's caught, not taught, right? It's what's caught in those conversations where it's like someone makes a comment, and it kind of like, by the way they said something or what they said, that you have to open that up more. And that a lot of times that can't happen on a Zoom call, right? But those conversations where it's like, oh, so you're doing this, but what about this? But what about this? And then they can provide those answers, and you're like, oh my God, that solves like that huge problem that I didn't quite understand. and it's creating. So we tried to create a ton of time for networking, right? We had the pool party on Sunday, and we had like breaks, and we had the dinner. So we tried to, because I've felt that in the events I've gone to. So I want to create those situations. We'll stimulate you guys and show you some tactics and inspire you with the speakers, but getting everyone in the same room where they can actually interact and get to know each other. You build trust. You have a couple of drinks flowing, and you give value. They're ready to give the value back. They're not hiding their cards so close to their chest like we do maybe a little bit more when we're online. When you actually see this person and feel their energy in real life. Yeah, super cool, Jack. Any other final thoughts, or is that's kind of your main takeaways?
Yeah, I mean that was like really what energized me. I mean, obviously we got so much information and from the speakers. I mean, the value there was immense, was like way more than I expected, honestly. But I mean, my biggest thing was just like getting connected, getting reconnected with people, and then also just having those things that I caught in passing, through conversations was like some of the biggest things for me.
Super cool, man. Cool. Thank you for sharing this. Let's go over to Robert Strada III. Where are you at, Robert?
Hey, I am in a Panera Bread, but I am fully able to talk, and everything's going good.
Yeah,
good.
Robert, this was your first event ever. Robert's 24
Yes, it
years
was.
old, guys. 24 years old, just kind of like jumping into this first event. What'd you think, man?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was extremely nervous. I have
What were you nervous about?
I'm not as far along as others, and I definitely value it so much. I think that I would agree with Patrick that trust can be equated to the quantity of value you're providing for the group. So like whenever I discover small nuggets, I believe in sharing, and I honestly, I mean, call me crazy, I believe in karma. So like if you help people in the world, like maybe they're gonna see, and then the world just helps you back. So honestly, I mean, it was just interesting seeing the dynamics. I think the biggest thing was the mindset shifts and just being around certain people. It's so different in person than online. I mean, for example, Chris, okay, he's 37 years old. He's got 7 businesses. So when I see an individual like that, I'm like, okay,
16.
That's 16 businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's even proves my point even more. I'm like, okay, that is an individual with a sense of urgency. That's someone we need to listen to more. And just being around all these people who are doing much better than me, it's just very, very, it's mind blowing. So I just definitely
It's good
being
to
around
normalize
people.
that. It's good to normalize that at a young age. I think a lot of times we enter into like, our 30s or our 40s and our 50s, 60s, and it's people haven't they've never been exposed to those type of numbers. And then it's like they live their life not realizing what's possible. And when you realize it at a young age, then you can like, okay, I know that the ceiling just went up on what I can do. Like if he can do it, I can do it. People that are 37 that own 16 businesses, when they're 24, they're chipping away at that future, right? And to know like, hey, this is a trajectory I could go on. That's an awesome spot to be, man. I didn't have I had the opportunity. I didn't know to seek that out when I was 24. I didn't know that. I was like, I was playing poker for a living and like, going on cruises and that's great. I look back on that with fond memories, but I didn't realize what was possible at that age. And it's super cool for you to put yourself in that situation,
Yeah. No, I definitely am very much value. I'm really glad that I found this business because I mean, although I believe one of the scariest things about this business is that it's so easy to get into. And then I believe people's lifetime bad habits may catch up. I know that for me, they are, some people may have an inability to execute and their tolerance for risk, it could just not really be there. So it's amazing being around and witnessing other people's mindsets in person versus online, as far as the high achievers and how their risk tolerance is so much higher. And they're like, it is what it is with so many things, and just being around it,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Robert, thank you for sharing with us, man. And thank you for hanging out this weekend. It was great to spend a little time with you, man.
Yep, absolutely.
let's go over to Mr. Alfredo Sauce. Alfredo Sauce, where you at, man?
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó?
How's it going, brother?
Man, fantastic, guys. I literally have hit the ground running since I got back. So I'm going to kind of give an insight from the VIP point of view of what Patrick's kind of takes that group. The Sunday, I think, yes, Sunday, we took a deep dive into our business. To be honest with you, it was super uncomfortable, but from the point of love and digging like weak points, digging blind spots that the people that are ahead of us pointed out, especially for me in my business. So it was very like, you know, here's your 90-day plan. This is where your blind spots, be careful, take a look at it. So that was super rewarding. The event itself, man, was great. Seeking out these networks and these relationships made it like even better. One of the themes that I got throughout the whole event has to do with branding with yourself, but not only that, like when it comes to Mike Merlino and CTR and GMB, it has to do with branding with the people that we're helping. It was, you know, every last successful speaker that was up there talked about branding, and that's how they get these clients becoming, how to get clients to be sticky with you. And really focusing on, and that's what I've been doing these last few days. I've literally gotten a sale every single day since I've been back from that event, and focusing on monthly recurring revenue, guys. Like this one-off thing, it's good, it serves its purpose, we're helping our clients. If that's what we need to do, that's what we do. But it's operating in your gift and leveling up others, seeking to give first, has really like taken off for me. But brand, it has everything to do with it. Every last of these guys talked about branding themselves, you know, building an audience. We talked about that. And I think Patrick has a thing, he cheated. He gave us a questionnaire, like, what are you struggling with? That whole event, somehow, some way, little bits and pieces off of those questionnaires he gave spoke to us. And I think you hear it in like the people that are here, the Jannery Williams team, they're both on here. I mean, we got Puerto Rico in the house in here, you know, Canadians, like we freaking just focus. And, you know, so he kind of cheated and tailored to all of us on there. You know, how dare you make this more valuable, Patrick? But yeah, it was super cool, super amazing. I talked to Chad, and I really got to crystallize this event for me and what it means. Was super exciting. And guys, I mean, I don't know. It was great. It really was great. The friendships that I have in this group now, you know, I solidified like Rafael. We got to hang out together, and he's my neighbor. Chad, he wasn't there, but like, you know, geez, if you guys can make it to the next one, Patrick just was the icing on the cake, putting everything together, one thing tied into the other, whether it had to be with GMB, verification, building the team, how to scaling, you know, your team, what level, what type of customer, and more importantly, the people's stories that were up on stage was very relatable. Rags to riches story, struggling stories, went from 0 to 1 million, 100,000 K in 24 months. And these dudes, you talk to them, man, I'm telling you, we have the talent, we have the know-how, we can do it. We can do it.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's if you were to go there and not come away with any tactics, just the energy, kind of getting re-energized. This is why it's probably not the tactics that have resulted in you landing like a sale a day since the event. It's probably the energy, like the confidence, right? I know that I dug deep on you in that VIP roundtable session we did on Sunday, but I'm glad you identified that as coming from love, because I wasn't going to let you off with, you know, if there's something that's like doesn't sound right, we got to dig in, and that's what those some of those opportunities. I wanted to like, I love all the positive stuff that you guys are sharing, but I want to make sure we're also giving a ton of value. So Rafael was, or I'm not Rafael, Alfredo Sauce was not setting up recurring income. It was more of like one-off deals. And this was the same thing that actually I realized that Spencer had done. And, you know, I'm going to circle back to you, a couple of you guys, but it keeps on kind of coming up. This is my realization of what happened at this event. The people do not have the offer dialed in. Their offers are not dialed in. And for the ones that have joined our coaching program, this is exactly what I'm going to focus on. This is like, if we can limit the way that most people teach in these groups, and I've been through all these different courses and stuff, and I've never seen it done the way I'm going to do it. And I think it's going to be super valuable for people. This is exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to limit the offers that you guys can make. I mean, you can go do whatever you want with the information we give you, but I'm going to give you, this is the offer I think you should make. No less than $1,250 a month. It includes like, you build out the website for the client. And then if they leave within the first 6 months, they don't get their website. If they stay longer than that, then the website's theirs. So that's a part of this. Then you add a couple pages. We're going to have like 2 pages per month to their site. And we're doing backlinks for them. And then we build out the lead gen stuff around this. And we offer the scheduling piece for them as a profit source for us. So if it's like, you know, maybe it's going to be like $6 a call or $7 a call, but we're trying to schedule for them. So that means the leads that we're sending have so much more value. And if we limit the deliverables, so this was like on Monday morning. So we slept in the mansion Sunday night, and Jeff and I woke up, and I woke up and I was like, I told my wife, I told Jeff, I was like, I know exactly what we need to do. I need to like come up with the offer for them. And then if I come up with the offer, I can create the deliverables on exactly what you need to do. So it's like, hey, here's how we can build the website, and here's how much it should cost. Here's how much you can pay. And then we can manufacture the profit margin. And you guys can go into sales conversations if you understand the offer. And then we know, like, hey, here's a financial template statement that you guys can use with like, this is how much you're permitted if you're going to follow this structure, like whatever, if you can go and do your own thing if you want, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to structure a very profitable way that you can do things from the offer to the deliverables to the expenses. And then we can manufacture a profit margin. And then we're doing it in a way like the same mistake that you are making is the same mistake Spencer was making. So what happens for a lot of people is like, if you're doing these one-off things, your revenue is going to look like this. And you're always going to be on the gun to kind of be selling. And that's what Spencer's been doing. And Spencer's a great salesman, and he's got a great team, and he's got like a great prospecting method, but his revenue is always going to be capped at where he is until you do things in a way where it stacks. 1 month stacks on top of the other one. So the problem that like Spencer posted a picture where it said new offer, and he was working on that offer, right? That's what we discovered. And it was kind of the same thing you had. And I've noticed this with so many different people charging like $300-400 a month. I know that talking to, I think it was Lindsay, you know, she was charging a few $100s a month for like a dog grooming client. If you start to structure things and you have the right offer, and we limit the, if we limit the niches that we can go into based on average ticket costs, then we can target clients that are going to be able to afford this offer. And if we structure the offer in a way and we kind of draw a straight line to deliverables, then like we can almost like, if you follow this thing, we can almost like predict success on this, right? Where it's like, you can go in and you'll know if this is like, this is the offer that I need to justify my cost structure. And if I do this, it's going to be repeatable, right? That was kind of my takeaway of this is there's too much flexibility. When we teach you the skills and I try to teach you how to identify the niches and this, like you're left to come up with your own offer. And I think a lot of people haven't dialed in the offer. And I think it would be a great idea if we said something like, hey, let's keep this offer this way until you get to $25,000 a month or $20,000 a month. After that, you kind of like mastered this. I see people like Devon, right? So Devon has been here and he has the skills that he needs. 100%, I believe this. He has the skills that he needs to be at 25K a month, but he's not quite there. And I think the reason is the offer. I think if you start with the offer and you work backwards and you connect the offer to the deliverables, it makes it easy. Here's another theme is like, as lead generators, let's take the target off our back, right? This is a big takeaway for me. And this has been kind of formulating over the last year or so for me. When Google really started to shake the tree, for those of us that are running like maybe larger agencies or that were building things up, and Google started kind of shaking the tree, and we lost rankings, we lost reviews, we lost GMVs, we lost clients. It's because we have a target on our back. If your only source of revenue is coming from performance-based services, such as lead generation, so the leads die, you lose the client, then you're essentially, that's all that you can be judged on. But if we can add other value pieces in there as a part of our offer, then we're kind of like, we're taking the target off our back, as like Barry coined this, right? So if we put the website building stuff in there, guys, once we get the systems and the deliverables, and I train you guys on how to deliver these websites in a really high quality way, this can be a huge profit source for us. So that way, when the website is not ranking from the beginning, we have something tangible to say, look, I built you this, right? If we're the ones that are getting their appointments booked and lining that stuff up, like that's another value add. If we've got reputation management in there, so they're getting more reviews, that's another value add. And then we set up a cadence where we're going to meet with our clients once a month. And we're like, hey, here's all the different stuff. And as our lead gen start to take off, then we increase our offer to them. But we have this baseline offer that we can essentially take anywhere we want. And it also reduces the time that is needed to rank, right? A lot of us right now, the way that we've done this is we're waiting to charge. This is what I did for a long time in my agency. It's one of the pivots. I pivoted like multiple times. I am so excited for you guys to pivot in this direction. If you guys are feeling this, let me know. Throw it in the chat if you guys are kind of vibing with what I'm saying here, because I think it answers so many of these different problems. And as somebody who's trying to coach you guys, it's very hard when there's a million different permutations on how you guys can set things up. But if we limit this and we say, hey, it's going to be this is the offer. Do not offer less than $12.50 a month. Like if that's a rule, then we're forcing to go into to the right ticket, and we automatically eliminate some of these like struggle bus people that we talked about. And this is what Devon did. Devon didn't have the ticket cost high enough, so he built out all these sites, and then the offer wouldn't work, where he couldn't get paid enough. He could have done the same work, and I'm not trying to pick on you, Devon. I love you, man. But if we do the same work, but we like kind of add more points of value without adding a lot of extra fulfillment, then we can keep our clients, we can reduce our churn rate, we can show them value sooner, which is going to allow us to scale. So the whole thing I'm going to build out is exact step-by-step directions on how to deliver this offer. And then now we can focus on prospecting and sales, right? And it's predictable. It's predictable growth is what it is, right? It's us being able to say, this is the exact offer that we're doing, and here are the steps necessary. If you want to build out the fulfillment yourself, then you can do it this way. If you want to white label it, I'm going to connect you to the white label sources, and I'm going to tell you how much to mark it up. So we can manufacture profit margin. The way that you could get a better profit margin is like, hey, maybe you get it more internal, but I'll tell you, like, stick to some of these offers until you get to 15 or 20K. If I can get everyone that joins our coaching program to 20 or 25K with this method, I think it'll be one of the most successful coaching programs that ever existed. And I think this is what is missed from every single one that I've seen. And it's what's missed from the previous training that I've done myself, because it didn't click into place until I had enough conversations around where people were struggling. And now it is. And now I know the exact pathway, I think, to get you guys to where you need to be. And I think a lot of you guys, there's a lack of clarity. And when there's a lack of clarity, you lack confidence. And when you lack clarity and confidence, then there's procrastination. This is how you end up in here for a little while and you haven't even built any sites because you don't know what to do. But if we kind of like build in the structure of like, this is what it has to be, I think all that stuff goes away, and then you just execute on this playbook. And I think the playbook is going to be so repeatable that it's going to lead to scalability. And that's what I'm excited about. That was my biggest takeaway from this event. And it came from the conversations with you guys combined to like the last like 2 or 3 years of me trying to figure things out on my own. Like part of my speech was a part of it. But yeah, that's where I'm going to be taking this group, and for the people that are a part of our coaching group, guys, I know that a lot of you guys are going to want to jump into the coaching group, and we've got kind of we're not releasing it fully yet. The people that were at the event that signed up, you guys are in. We've got the registration kind of on pause right now until we have a lot more of this stuff dialed in. This isn't a pitch for that. This is me being excited at the fact that I know that what I've got planned is going to have a massive impact for every single person that's in there. You know, it was, I think, on Gary after the event. For you guys that met Gary, he came back and stayed at my place, and I think we woke up at like 7:30 in the morning, and I just came out of there like on fire. I'm like, this is what we're going to do right here. I got this, you know, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since, and like how we're going to structure it, back and forth with conversations with Chris about it. So I am stoked. But let's go over another person from the event. We got Alec Newmeyer in here. Alec, where you at, brother?
I'm right here. What's up, Patrick?
There he is, man. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I was so funny. I left the event and I'm in line at the airport, and security is like 4 times longer than I thought. I was going to miss my flight. But I was just like so juiced from just meeting everybody that I was just chatting with everybody in line, and just like, I mean, I made friends with like 13 people before I got through security. It was insane. I was just like, damn, I think I would be pretty annoying in most circumstances, but I was on an absolute high. Yeah, biggest thing for me, I think Jannery just posted it on her social media, and she mentioned it here. Like, entrepreneurship in general is lonely. Online entrepreneurship is very lonely. And so being in your room, in my case, in my room, and working on my computer, I think one of the biggest immediate values I got from the event was, let's call it relative scale. I think I talked to some people about this, but when you see only a singular rock there and you have nothing to judge the rock against, you don't know if it's a mountain or a pebble. And so it's very difficult to decide what is big and what is small, especially when you're by yourself. You get up in your thoughts, you're reading way too many blogs, you're deep into online forums, and it gets really difficult to get perspective. So going to an event like that and meeting people who are ahead of where you are, or, you know, and they have their own troubles, and then you have people who are doing it a whole different way, and they're sharing you kind of what was successful. It was huge to get some relative perspective on those issues and just see like, hey, you know, this is how, you know, you can read a recipe, but if you don't know what an oven is, it's pretty difficult to bake cookies. So watching someone just sit there and do it in front of you just changes the whole game. So I was extremely excited for that. Just being in a group with such like-minded people, and that was massive for me. The speakers are super helpful. And even at the end, when I thought I had gotten everything out of I thought I got everything out of it, and we were just going to hang out at the pool party. I met Doug Heimbach, just sitting there. We were chatting, and the way that he's built his business is like so crazy different. Yeah. And just like just an incredible makeup of everything. And it was another one of those values between the cracks type situations between the meetings. So I've gone over my notes from the event like 4 or 5 times.
You got an action step for what's the biggest action step that you're going to take? The event's over. Everyone loves each other. It was amazing. Doug's a sleeper. I talked to him a little bit. I was like, this guy's, yeah. But what is the actual action step that you're going to put into place? What's the first thing that you need to do in your business to move it forward based on what you learned over this weekend, or what's your plan here?
I think the biggest thing I took away was not trying to do it all myself. So, because I've been trying to learn every single technical aspect on my own, and the people who are ahead of me were the ones who were like, I just hired someone to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like
it's who, not how, right? That's what we need to think about, is like, who's going to do this, not how am I going to do this?
Yeah. Yeah. So the biggest thing for me is just distilling kind of the biggest issues in my business and the things that I hate the most, and getting those out of my face so I can focus on the things that I actually enjoy. That's probably the biggest thing that I can do. And then of course I started posting on not of course, but I started posting on social media to own my brand. Like Alfredo was talking about, like Adam McChesney talked about, like Chris talked about. And I hate posting on social media, but I already got someone reaching out to me. I didn't even tell social media what I do for business yet. And I already got someone reaching out to me to build them a website and start SEO. So, which is hilarious. I just posted pictures of my kids so far. So yeah, it was big. If you were pre-selling tickets, I'd buy one already for July. I'm going.
Yeah, I can't wait to. One of my goals next time is to spend more time hanging out with you, man. I really like talking to you for the few minutes that I had there. And
thank you.
Yeah, one of the things that Adam says, and I've said this, and it really has resonated with me. Like, who do we have to become to get the business that we want? And that doesn't mean that we're going to turn into jerks or anything, right? But it's like we have to get out of our comfort zone some of the time, right? With you not being comfortable with posting on social media, like you're, I always view the sales process this way, and everything that I'm involved with is like, I know that we have something great, whether that's for my agency, through my software, or through the coaching program, or whatever I'm selling. I've got to get people to get out of their own way so that they can realize the opportunity that's in front of them. Like I already know it. And getting out there and posting on social media is it's a pathway to open that up. I'll tell you a story, man. When I was in Vegas, I joined this group and I did a lot of we were helping the homeless. We're helping homeless teenagers. So it's an organization, you look it up, called Street Teens in Vegas. So we were helping these kids. And I have this thing, I never want to ask people for help. And that was hard for me because we were trying to like get charity. We're trying to get money for these kids. And I was like, I wasn't who I needed to be. I'm big on trying to think about how we can hack our brains. And I came up with this idea. I went deep into this image of like, if I was a 13-year-old kid and I was homeless in this town, where am I going to go? Because Vegas is hot, right? In the summer, people die. These kids die there all the time. And I wanted to step into that emotionally. And I pictured I'd go find myself under like a bridge. Like I'm going to go under, I need to get shelter. Like I got to get out of the sun. Like I'm going to be burned enough if I'm out there all day. So I pictured myself as like Patrick, as the 13-year-old boy. What did I look like crawling up under this bridge? And I'm like trying to fall asleep, but I hear some noise and I'm like freaking out. And I like, something snapped in me when that imagery, I was like, my fears of who I am are stopping this kid who's under this bridge somewhere in Vegas right now from getting the help he needs. And it took me out of my comfort zone. I got out and I sold that. I got so many people. I went to the poker table. I made a sign at the poker table. One day I put the sign on me like, hey, I'm helping the homeless. Ask how you can help. And then I started getting donations from strangers. Like there were people, one guy owned a jewelry store and he wrote a check. Like I came and picked it up at his office. He wrote a check for like $3,000 to donate, but I had to get out of my comfort zone to be able to help these people, and that's what we have to do. If we believe in what we're doing for these businesses, there's small businesses out there that need us, right? We have to do that. And it's not just about everybody else. It's also about us and our families, right? We can provide for our families better while helping other people, right? So, keep that in your mind. Who do you have to become? And then how can you hack your brain with like, yourself better than anybody. What do you need to tell yourself to motivate you to get out of your comfort zone so that you can achieve what you're trying to achieve? And every time we do it, our comfort zone gets a little bit bigger, right? Like I wasn't always comfortable speaking in front of people and I still get a little nervous. I don't know, like if anyone knows, but when I go up there, the first couple minutes, I'm like, all these people, when we're online, I'm just staring at Alec right now. But when you go out there, there's all these like faces and they're like, if you don't say anything, they look at you blankly. So it's a whole different perspective. But hey, if I want to run a coaching program and have the impact that I want to have in like software company, I've got to be comfortable with this. I have to become somebody new. We got to get out of that comfort zone a little bit, man. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, man. It was great connecting with you. I can't wait to see you at the next one, brother. All right. Who else? I don't know if we have exhausted. Mr. Douglas Heimbach, are you willing to come on and share some of your wisdom?
Sure, I want to thank Alec for calling me out on the table here.
You're
I'm the
getting called
person
out
that's
either way.
nice and quiet, sitting in the back and just being a sponge and taking it all in. But a couple things. The offer, you hit it nail on the head. For on my legal side, until I define form fill, price per state, live transfers, dollar amount, I struggled because that pricing was trying to get a customer. Okay, I can do it for 100, and my lead costs are 100, but I got a customer. So once I overcame that in 2021, it really changed the business and where I am today.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say, guys, is it was a great event, but it's what you do with it. I've already had a meeting on Monday with Brian for Instagram because that intrigued me. And he was a great resource in talking with me, and it looks like we may do some stuff together here.
That guy's brilliant, right? I mean,
He
I
is.
don't think there's anyone that left that room that came to a different conclusion, you know?
And I made an offer on an Inc. 1000 customer or client to buy their business.
Amazing.
Just today. So action. And then one thing I would like to do, and we can talk offline about this, but I would love to sponsor someone to the next event, someone that might not be able to afford it.
Man, let's hear it. Let's hear it for Doug, guys. Are you kidding me? He's going to sponsor somebody. That's having an impact, right? Man, I love your heart on this, Doug. Yeah, I'm gonna find a way.
It was a great event, and I thank you. And guys, I guess legal did 1.7 last year. We're on pace to do 3.5 to 4 this year. And I joined the coaching program, guys. That's how important it is to have a mentor, have people, like-minded people surround you. I've been pretty much a lone wolf. And once I got there and started meeting people, it was very important to become part of a bigger group and have a mentor to look up to. And I took a lot of things away. I can't even list them all, what I took away from the mix of speakers was just amazing. Every different kind of speaker you could think of, polished, unpolished, but they all brought the junk, man. It was great.
That's cool, man.
So I want other people to experience it.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you came, man. I know that we kind of talked a little bit. You're one of the people we talk for back and forth online, but it's completely different when you just sit down. Like 2 minutes into the conversation, I was like, this guy's high level. Like I you know, and I come in like no judgment, but I'm coming trying to figure out who people are, you know, and you know, I'm impressed. And look, you also, I think there's another potential partnership. I don't know, you know, what's going to happen with that, but there was another potential partnership that happened at that event for you. Yep. I know that I'm partners with Chris, and I met him at another event, right? And like, you know, Chris was the one who introduced me to Brian and Francis, right? And I met Adam McChesney in another group, in another, like, I mean, it's just, you guys put yourself in those situations and things go faster. You know, it's like the little mushroom and Mario Brothers. You step on that, you're going to go faster, right? So you got to put yourself in that situation. And Doug, man, I'm so glad that you joined and that you came this weekend. And I'm like so grateful for you on like offering this up to help somebody else get there. I know you wouldn't do that if you didn't believe in the, you know, in our message and what we're doing. So I take that as a huge compliment, and I just appreciate it so much, man.
100%, 100% behind you. It was great. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks a lot, Doug. That's awesome. It was great meeting you there.
Yeah, same here, Jeff.
Cool. All right, guys, let's do this. I know we've had like I didn't want this to kind of be like a hype call for the event. I want you guys to be hyped about the possibilities of being a part of this group and what's possible for the next event. I also wanted you guys, I wanted some of the people to share their takeaways for you guys that can't get there. I hope that you got some value from this. I can do like 2 questions. If anybody's, doesn't have to be about the events, doesn't have to be about coaching. I want to make sure that you know, you guys are coming in here and spending your time here, but I've only had a few minutes. But if you guys, 2 questions, anything that I can do or that you're struggling with.
Hey, Patrick, can I just bring up something really
Hola,
important?
what's up?
That book, Buy Your Own Time.
Buy Back Your Time.
That was
Buy Back Your Time. Yeah.
Buy Back Your Time. That was priceless. I feel what Alec was talking about. I was doing everything on my own, and now I am not anymore. I am looking for VAs, and I kind of have my whole road planned out. But that book is amazing.
100%. That is my mentor, right? I shared this before. If you guys haven't read the book, anyone that came to the event, I bought it. It meant so much to me. I bought it for everyone that came to the event, and I gave it to them all as a gift. But that's somebody that I trust, and that I think is the most successful, efficient person. And he does it, and like, he gets to live his life. He's always going and like doing crazy adventures, and he spends a lot of his time in philanthropy, helping out other people. It's just like, you see someone sometimes that you want to model yourself after. And it's been the first time, I don't know that I've really felt this way ever before. I've hoped that people would become this person that I could follow, and then they weren't, but so far, man, that, like, I joined his coaching program, and guys, that's not cheap. It's not cheap at all. But it's been the best coaching that I've ever received. And I've taken away some of the stuff I share with you guys as things that I've learned through that one or another one. But Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time, was it will tell you how to hire in the right order. The sequence is huge, and it will tell you what things you should be replacing and what things you should hold on to replace until later, and strategies of how you should have assistants doing different types of things. He's just a phenomenal teacher and a really brilliant person. I'll talk to us aside from the book. What were some of the big takeaways for you from the event? I forgot. I didn't see you on this call. Maybe you were bouncing on and off.
I was driving.
Off. Yeah.
It was incredible. The people that I met were unbelievable. Like, I realized that I can do it all. I can do all of this. I was doubting myself. And up until this weekend, I was very doubtful. I have a full-time job that I cannot quit right now, but I see myself at the end of my job this year. I actually, like, I kind of envision it now. And the book that Jeff recommended, the Talk to Yourself, how you speak
what to say when you talk to yourself. Yeah.
It should say, yes, I finished that on the plane. I have all these things going on in my head, but the people are number one. Like, the people that I met were incredible. They opened my eyes to the possibilities, and the fact that I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just doing everything on my own. That was my biggest takeaway. I should not be doing this on my own.
For sure.
And I would have a lot further down.
Well, hey, we've all got our own journey of learning. I know you were another one that I kind of dug deep with during that VIP circle, right? I know you were struggling with some of the mental aspects of like the confidence for this. And I think a lot of that comes from a lack of clarity. We don't really know what we're supposed to be doing. So it's like, we don't proceed at all, right? You got to 4 or 5K a month in like 2 months, and then you've been on pause for a year because you lack the clarity. And I was excited to kind of see this, and I can just tell from the conversation we were having in that roundtable VIP circle to now, things have kind of like snapped into place a little bit, and you've got like a direction to go in, which is awesome, because that stops procrastination on stuff when we know what we need to do, right? We know what the next step is. It doesn't come from laziness, guys. A lot of it is just like, we don't know what to do, and we're like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my money. I don't want to like do something wrong, and then it ends up taking longer. So yeah, that's exactly the problem I'm going to try to solve with the way I'm shifting things a little bit. So Ala, thank you for sharing. It was awesome to connect with you. I know my wife had a lot of nice stuff to say about you. So I'm glad she's got someone she can speak Russian now, which is cool.
Thank you. And shout out to Vadim. He opened my eyes to a lot of things I didn't realize that I could be doing. So it was a lot, not just the speeches. Your speech was amazing. Everybody's speeches were incredible. but just the real people in the room who are struggling and who are on their way kind of made me feel so much more confident and so excited for this year.
Awesome. Ola, always a pleasure. All right.
Thank you.
Guys, we're at an hour and 11 minutes. So I'm gonna call it a wrap. I'd love to hear, like, if you guys think that someone from our group should watch this video, or if you have somebody that would benefit from being in our group, invite them in, tag them in this video. I'd love to hear, for those of you guys, any of you guys that are watching this that weren't at the event, what are there any takeaways here from what other people have said that you can put into your business and help you move forward? I hope so. I didn't want this to be like a hype video for the event. I want this to be about you guys moving forward and the value that's out there. And I'm really excited. I mean, for me, that huge takeaway of like how to structure things so that you guys, I feel like if I can put things in the right format for you, I can create a ton of clarity. And with that, I feel like if you guys could just follow the steps that we lay out, we can lock down success for you guys. So that was a huge takeaway for me on where the missing pieces were. And that stuff just snapped into place. So, all right, you guys got 1 week before our next call. As always, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to move your business forward? For the guys that were at this event, realize that was a 3-day event. That's all that was. 3 days. And a lot of you guys have already taken the action necessary. We've got people that are closing new businesses. We've got people that are making an offer on a new business. We got people that are closing new clients, conversations, referrals coming in. Do something. You got 7 days before the next event, before the next call. 7 days before the next call. What are you going to do to move your business forward? I encourage you guys to like push things forward so you're in a better spot when we come back on the 20th, or maybe it's the 1st. I don't know how to do that. I don't know if this is nobody knows.
The 1st, March 1st.
Yeah. Okay.
Next Wednesday.
Those leap years are elusive. All right.
Yeah.
So March 1st, where are you guys going to be? Take some action to put yourself in a better spot. All right, guys. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon. Adios.
Okay.